Oh,
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Reaper Wargaming Podcast. We are just having some general discussion today. General podcast. We have had our conversations about the London Grand Tournament last week. So if you haven't heard that podcast, it's such a good conversation with Simone from Hive Mind Podcast, and they essentially just talking about that sisters list that took him 4-1, which was amazing and really interesting to see just in their thought process around how they build it, how they put all it together. It was just a really, really interesting conversation that we had. So if you haven't managed to listen to that, please do. Welcome. If you are joining us on Twitch, please ask questions, get involved, all of that lovely, lovely stuff. And without further ado, we are going to go to Dave. And Dave, tell us what is happening in Reaper at the moment, what's coming up, what's going on.
We've continuing to break some awesome little milestones. We've got another little event coming up this weekend. That Keir will be TOing this weekend, and he has some deep dark secrets on that he might let slip. That'll be a fun one. It's a Highlander event. It's really there to just be anti-meta and be a lot of fun. I have encouraged people to embrace the spirit of Halloween and jump on board for some fancy dress to get those sweet, sweet battle ready points.
I'm not sure if that's public domain knowledge, but you're getting battle ready points.
I won't enforce it. I wouldn't expect it to be enforced, but it's
I fucking might. Look at me. I am the captain now.
You give a guy one event to TO and look at him.
Yep. Power mad.
But no, that'll be really fun for people. I won't be there. I'm going to be down in Nottingham at a different event that I'm really excited about. We can maybe talk about that next time. Some fun stuff happening down there. Discord just continues to grow and grow and grow. We're well over the 250 mark, and then obviously, if anyone has seen the socials today, we finally got the sneak peek pictures of our new club dice that look so good. Transparent, crystal style dice, in a bunch of different fun colours. They're ready. They're shipping tomorrow. Who knows when they'll turn up? Hopefully really quickly, and we can get people using them.
Have to get Dave to call in a few of the old contacts at Royal Mail. Get them to us pronto.
Yeah, see if I can chap the door and be like, right, come on, give me my box.
I will say, disclaimer, the dice all look, I don't know if it's just me, they look like delicious, fruit, hard sweeties.
Yeah.
Don't eat them.
Don't eat them.
Yeah.
No.
They're so beautifully polished. They're so brand new.
Yeah.
They've got they've not been touched by anyone's hands. They've got no, and they just
I hear they roll 6s 1 out of 6 attempts.
Yeah, they roll 6s,
yeah.
but not so well it's suspicious.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah. The sample pictures prove that they roll average, right?
Yeah.
One of everything.
We essentially got them to roll for you while you watched 100 rolls, and you're like, those are the dice we want.
Roll them again!
They're perfectly balanced. They're definitely perfectly balanced. So it'll be really fun to see. They just look really good. And the fun part is there's even more secret dice to come for the future, but it's a secret for now. There'll be secret dice.
That's secret dice.
Yeah, because I don't know about you guys, but I've become a bit of a hobby dice goblin.
Nice.
I've become really big on getting
of a tabletop gamer.
Yeah, getting dice from other people now. I've got a nice fun little collection in the bottom of my bag of random dice from
fine
people.
addition to my collection.
Yes.
Do you ever just find them? I find them in my pockets all the time. Dice, I'm like, oh, there's one.
I've started bringing them into work because at work we have, in the start of the day, we decide who's doing something called direct inoculations and who's doing filtering. And I'm like, well, we're going to roll off and whoever wins gets to decide who's doing what.
I love that.
Pumping the merch at work as well.
Yeah.
Get everyone
involved. And also pumping an illegal dice gambling ring in
Listen.
the cupboard.
It's not gambling because there's skill involved.
Oh, nice.
It's a skill issue.
It's a game of skill, yeah.
Last bit of exciting things is also tomorrow. It just so happens to be that hopefully the new club jerseys ship tomorrow as well. They might be here as soon as Friday, which would be really cool. For anyone that hasn't seen them, they can jump over to like the socials, and there's some kind of digital mock-ups of them. They're really cool, and they were available for club members to get to wear to events, and just really for some really good flexing for like just looking cool at events more than anything.
Represent.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've got so many friends at other clubs now, and they turn up to our events and they've got like cool jerseys on, and we're like, cool, we've got awesome hoodies. They're cool, but you feel like you're missing out.
They're cool, but they're also roasting when it gets hot in that event too. We need something a little more lightweight.
Yeah. What we're saying right now,
tank tops when Reaper Wargaming crop tops when.
I'll get you one for the summer. Put that in the summer merch. I
want some muscle tees. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Right. The gym bros. All right.
I want back in like early noughties, like low cut V.
Like the deep V.
Yeah, the Gold's Gym style vest. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that would be good.
I thought when you said early noughties,
there's always one
when
in the gym wearing that stuff.
Fit for 40k.
And they're never even big. You know, the big dudes are always wearing something baggy.
But I think there's lots of cool stuff like that. As part of that dice stuff, we've got dice that we're donating to a club down south. So that'd be really awesome as well. Shout out to Cookie and all the guys down there. They did a fantastic event recently as well. Same kind of time as LGT, where they raised thousands for a couple of great charities where they had the US Air Force over playing Warhammer with them for like 3 or 4 days. That was a really cool event to follow. I've been sent loads and loads of pics, and it's maybe something, if they do it again in the future, we'll have to find a way to get down there and tag along and help them out, I think. But I think other than that, the only other wee bit of news is that the event that we did have planned for November, I think we're going to postpone just now. There's just some kind of logistic stuff. It's kind of a busy time at the hub in terms of other users and fundraising going on there. So we're kind of going to take a step back for a month. We're going to save that GT, push it back, and I can now start planning my kind of funky, different Christmas party RTT combo. I've already got some fun custom rules that I've been cooking up in my head.
Nice.
I hope you like the ritual.
No.
I've had a bit of a thought as well. If people don't fancy, for the more like relaxed seasonal events, for example, the Halloween RTT this weekend would be an example of one, but we are set in our format for that. Something like Christmas, maybe we could even say, well, we'll have X amount of tables set aside for Warhammer with everyone and playing some games together. I think that'd be cool too. Just to have it. And you're saying more of a general games day when we were talking about it the other day. I think it'd be cool to bring down some not maybe. I know I'm talking a Warhammer podcast. A non-Warhammer game.
Just top.
Lies.
I've got some cool board games, man. I have I've got Dead of Winter, which I think would be good fun.
Dead of Winter is my favourite. Have you played the extended, Keir?
No,
Have you played like the add-on where they've got like audio logs and there's like mad like mutants, like big Resident Evil style like zombies?
Damn, I've not even seen them, man.
Cool. I've got that.
That's cool though.
Well.
I've got
I'm going to send you to down a rabbit hole here.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, but no, I think it'd be really cool to do our tournaments. So if that's something that interests you guys, and you're going to be coming to events,
please
put it in Discord, because like feedback's what drives the change in the club, right? So
and to be honest with you, if you're booking a table, you get to play whatever you want on that table.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be 40k. We might be Warhammer specific because the majority of us play Warhammer, but if you're wanting just space to play any board game in a club where you could easily get 4-6 people around one of those big tables easily. So 100% any kind of game that you want to play, if you book that table, like please just come along and play on it.
If you want a board game probably worth mentioning to one of the Primarchs, and we can try. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but we can try and put you on a table that's either on the end or by itself, so you can get a few people around it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, next correct. And if you're paying for your table, you're paying for the table. And if you want to bring Star Wars Legion in, would be a good example. Yep. I did see the Star Wars Legion start at the box the other day.
I want Legion to start at the club so bad.
I kind of want to play droids, man.
Oh, don't start me,
faction,
guys. I only have 2 hands to paint. I don't have enough hands to paint. I need General Grievous to paint like 4 models at a time. That's the dream.
He's so cool.
I just want to paint like a whole bunch of like orange face masks on clone troopers and run a little Ahsoka. Yeah, that'd be me. That would be me. I'd be very happy.
I didn't realize that you could play CIS in Legion. I kind of want it. Okay.
We are no longer at Warhammer.
We are now. Yes.
I just sold my Tyranids army. I just sold my Tyranids army.
Yeah, that's true.
We're now a Star Wars Legions podcast.
Yeah. So, going back to the club, what's going on? We also have teams. Maybe Keir, do you want to just chat us through a little bit about teams, where we're at with it, what the sort of plans are?
So, I had a little informal chat with a couple of the guys the other night, just to get a feel for where everyone's at. And we're looking at entering a team to the Clan Wars event in December. And I think that's going to be kind of our first foray into it. But we are certainly setting up and starting to move forward with scope to go to further teams events next year. There's a lot of enthusiasm about it, and people are feeling very positive. And I think on the back of teams, we're looking at going to be getting some TTS games set up, and maybe we'll set an area. I'm not sure if there is one at the moment, but we can maybe have a look at setting a little area up in Discord for TTS. I think there probably is one somewhere, but we can blow the dust off of that. And because I think a lot of people have it, but maybe aren't we're not thinking about playing it because we play so often in person. I think Fulvio, you're going to run me through that tomorrow night.
Yes, that's the plan.
Awesome.
Yep, tomorrow.
So by tomorrow night, I'll be an expert at TTS. And I think we're going to look at getting a lot of practice done on that. So that's just kind of a general announcement to everyone in the club, is that keep your eyes peeled for TTS things. I have been studying a couple of other clubs, and there's a lot of popularity with TTS. So hopefully you guys are feeling the same way.
Still a good tool, yeah. It's just
it's a great tool. Just for general play.
For me, it's just worse than the actual interaction on a table. But I agree. I think because we use it so much during the pandemic, it's like I'm physically burned out from that tool. I just thought I can't. But we can try. We can try again.
It's a good practice tool, but we all prefer the connection over the table, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think tabletop is basically, for people that don't know what it is, it's a tabletop simulator. What it is really, really good for is practicing deployment, where to put models, where that really important first and second move happens. So being able to say, okay, if I put my models here on the UKTC terrain or the mission pack for this mission, you can set up the whole mission, heights, everything. How can I hide stuff that I want to hide? Where can I put stuff? Where will stuff move to in a number of moves? And that's one of the things it's really, really good for. And it's good for, obviously, if you can't get down to the club or you wanted to play someone that's maybe nowhere near where you live, being able to play them through it. It works for that kind of stuff. But obviously, like face-to-face contact, being in the club, having your models is always going to be ideal. That's where you want to be playing, but it's a good alternative.
So just to quickly look back, anyone who is playing in teams and who's listening, also, hey Simone, he is in Twitch chat, so everyone say hello.
Yay! Hi Simone.
And anyone who is doing teams, please have an idea of which faction you like to play. By the end of the month, we can start working on some strategy stuff, and then we can start to refine our ideas and start comboing our lists together. And I think that's the exciting part for me, is when we get to say, right, You want to play this, you want to play this, and you want to play this. How can we make those three things work together? What can we lean into with each faction? Because the team's meta is so different from the singles meta, I think, right? I mean, I might be talking about my ass here.
But like, to some extent, you've got some interesting things.
Stuff in teams.
Yeah.
Because
especially if you're building
you're able
to play
cover
on types of boards and stuff.
Exactly, yeah. You're able to cover certain weaknesses in each other's lists. So I think it's really interesting to me. And I think the extra layers of complexity to the game are very appealing.
So yeah,
100%.
so if you're wanting to play in teams, we'll put something out on the Discord anyway, but just rehash who it is you're wanting to play, who you're comfortable playing, and also really good to know what armies people actually have as well. As it's good to know if we are able to have multiple people that have multiple armies that we can shift stuff around, and multiple models to make up lists where maybe one person doesn't have enough of one type of unit, but there's another person that has that unit, and we can potentially borrow from each other and share and stuff like that as well. But yeah, just another exciting way to engage in the club if you want to, alongside the league, alongside the Blood Bowl, everything that we do down at the club, the what on earth even is it called? The
Crusade.
Crusade. I was like, Conquest for some reason was just like stuck in my head. The Crusade is well on its way, so we'll definitely have a chat on this podcast in the next couple of weeks just about where we're at with that. I think that would be a really exciting conversation. But yeah, please let us know who your factions are, who you want to be, and we'll start. Well, I say we. I'm not. Keir will start trying to organize the team, and maybe teams. We'll see kind of where we're at in terms of how many people want to be involved and stuff like that as well. So, in terms of news, current Warhammer news, where we're at right now, we have 2 codexes out. Right now, we've got the Tyranids Codex has been out for a while now, and the Space Marine Codex has been out for maybe about 2 weeks. Around about now, is that about right? Yeah, 2 weeks, something like that.
Like a week officially.
A week officially, yeah. So we're going to start seeing how much that potentially is going to change the meta in the next month or so, as people start to get their heads around the different detachments and stuff we can play. We're already kind of seeing that with the NIDs right now. All the different kind of detachments are now starting to come out, and we're starting to see maybe a little bit of shift in terms of how their win rate within the meta. And then the other thing is the army boxes have just been announced. So that's your Christmas sort of bundle boxes that Games Workshop put out every sort of Christmas time. Usually you get a pretty good discount in there as well. But essentially, let's start with the codexes. What is everyone's thoughts around the current codex? Let's start quickly with the NIDS one. It's been out for a while now. We've seen it being played in a couple of tournaments. We've seen some really good NIDS players we have down at the club playing different detachments as well. So what are people's thoughts in terms of that NIDS codex? Is it balanced? Is it good? Does it give a lot of good options? What's the fluff like?
Yeah,
Fulvio,
I'll start actually.
Yeah, Fulvio,
I had a couple of games into Tyranids. One into the new Hive Nexus detachment. The other one was in the old Invasion Fleet, and actually they're really good. They just score points reliably. The codex seems quite balanced as well. The units are good. There is still something to be addressed, like by GW, like the fact that Spore Mine can do actions. But hey, Narglings can do it as well. But yeah, I pay slightly. I pay for
you pay
Narglings,
points for Nurglings, and also can't just fucking fire them across the board like a goddamn ICBM every round, right?
Spore Mines.
How do you screen that fucking 25mm base out, dude?
Well, in all honesty, I managed to screen it from my deployment zone. I couldn't stop like the Spore Mine surrounding me. No, I'm not. I just like you have enough units, you can screen it, and then you just like cannot advance within 6 inches or 3 inches or whatever. Yeah. And just basically they like box you in, and like I'm surrounded by Spore Mines. I can't go anywhere.
What a
thing.
fun
I think
interaction.
Especially because it's indirect as well, so you don't need to expose to shoot the mines. Something like some tuning is needed, in my opinion, but for the rest, I think the codex is nice. It's balanced. There's nothing like completely broken. There's nothing is completely unusable. So I hope they keep the same team on they wrote these codex on all the subsequent ones. We'll see. We'll see. It's not bad.
And in terms of the Space Marines one, obviously, Dave, do you have just a few models at the moment, don't you, Dave, for Space Marines? Not many.
Rumor has it I've got. Rumor has it I've got a couple of Space Marines lying around somewhere. Just a couple. Space Marines, I think, they're in a weird place. They have some real kind of heavy hitters. Some of these detachments are really nicely tuned. I think this is probably the most kind of broadest codex they've ever done for Marines, at least since I've been back in the hobby from 8th edition. I feel like almost every detachment has a build, or even 2 or 3, depending on which one you pick. I'm really liking messing around with some of the dark iron raven hands stuff, where you just take what is supposed to be an Iron Hands detachment and you just slap a bunch of Raven Wing Dark Angels units and Terminators in it and just go, here's a disgusting mash of things that shouldn't coexist, but it's quite spicy. I'm also just really liking the fact that you can finally take something that also comes across quite fluffy with the Space Marines codexes. Like, you can go down a kind of meta rabbit hole with the new Marine stuff. You can build like generically balanced lists that kind of represents a chapter, and it's a much nicer way that they've done it than the previous 9th edition successor chapter rules, which very quickly you either ran one pair or another, or you did a hybrid of the two, and that was basically all anyone ever did. And I recently saw, somebody took Imperial Fist to Tampa, or the Imperial Fist detachment to Tampa, and did very well, went kind of undefeated for a good run, and then kind of dropped off, I think, in kind of shadow round stuff, if I've remembered that right. But you've got people taking like Ultramarines equivalents, you've got the Iron Hands one, the Salamanders one has a lot of utility. And I believe Art of War are doing some content soon, showing off some unique ideas around what would be kind of the Raven Guard one, which I think with some patience and a lot of testing could have a really interesting playstyle to it. It's got a lot of kind of redeploy that nothing else really has just now.
I think the Raven Guard one's really weird because I love it. I think it's really peculiar that you could like, maybe not peculiar. I think it's cool. You take your Terminator captain, you give him the enhancement that gives him infiltrators, and you have like him and 10 in Terminators.
Yeah, you have a problem
for deploying.
Yeah,
man, that's fucking spicy, dude. So, or even like the Apothecary Biologist can lead in, or Captain in Grav Armor could lead aggressors with that.
Yeah, that could be fun.
I think the only one that's disappointing, I think, for like vanilla Marines is the non-white scars one. Which is basically useful only for Space Wolves, apparently, because they're only the one that have like mounted characters.
And that's because only because Thunderwolves are just so cheap just now. I don't think they're good personally. Like, there's a whole load of chat in kind of certain circles where it's like, yeah, you run Space Wolves and you just take loads of Thunderwolf cavalry and all these mounted characters, and I'm just like, nah, bro. Like, play on a table with actual terrain.
Yeah, dude.
And the answer to that is no. I'll just put my little MSU stuff an inch away from the wall. You can't come through the wall to fight me, so come charge round the long way, and then when you do that, I'm going to walk back through the wall, fall back away from you, and you can't chase after me. I'm going to just walk away.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what they do with the like known codex compliant chapters, because I think now if you have like Blood Angels or Space Wolves or Dark Angels, you can have access to everything. Like you can use any detachment, which might not stay in the future. I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's really odd because there's a lot of the thing with the non-codex compliant chapters is that they are distinct enough away from compliant chapters that they have a lot of their own units and generally have their own playstyle. I don't think they're distinct enough to have more than one sub-faction rule. Really?
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah,
maybe with Space Wolves you could be like, cool, you have a mounted one and you have an infantry one.
Yeah,
same goes for Dark Angels.
Like Blood Angels is like you could have an infantry one and a jump infantry one.
Infantry one,
maybe
a Death Company focus or
the Dark Angels can, but I think that it's going to be weird. I think a lot of them, you can have like a Death Company focused one, but you need 6 stratagems and 4 enhancements really for each attachment and a rule.
Yeah,
right. So like, how different are each one going to be from the others?
Yeah.
So
how many chaplain can you run? I mean, like 3 plus Le Martes. I mean, that's it.
They shouldn't be allowed to play with the good Space Marine detachments that definitely aren't meant for them.
Well, you don't want 10 Deathwing Knights that are -1 to wound and was it -1 incoming damage and whatever else stacked on with a Space Marine captain that keeps them in tactical, and so they get to deploy 9 inches away and then they get to turn 1 advance and charge. You don't think that's
Lewis is saying in chat he thinks they're going to get 3 detachments for the. I think that's probably a good shout.
Yeah,
makes
sense.
They'll
probably just call them like mad. They'll just make up some kind of names for them, like the blooming vampire detachment or some fucking mad thing like that. You know what I mean?
The souls of the damned detachment. It's all Death Company.
Stupid.
There'll be some sort of my kind of gut feeling, like when you break down the non-codex stuff, is you'll probably have for Space Wolves you'll have something centered around Logan Grimnar and lots of Terminators. Then there'll be ones kind of centered around taking Ragnar Blackbane and lots of kind of fast melee stuff, maybe kind of some more mobile stuff. And then there'll be something maybe to do with running slightly more kind of vehicles and Thunderwolves type thing.
I would have thought mounted Thunderwolf cavalry is a big thing for them, right?
Yeah,
if that's your thing.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see what they do with Black Templars.
They're spicy, dude.
Because they've always had slightly different kind of synergies, and it's in the past you've had to give something up to get something better. I'll be curious to see if something like that makes a comeback for them. But for now, I think the general codex it sits in a nice place. We'll see how nice a place it sits once these subsequent codex non-compliant kind of chapter stuff comes out, and whether it interacts or doesn't interact with the core Space Marine stuff. I think only until you get that we can really give an honest answer on how this book sits, because this book could go from quite good, have lots of options, to just busted as soon as it gets one combo. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
I agree. Black Templars do slap. They are very good.
Yeah,
no, 100%. And one thing I would like to say, I think, is just I would say a drop ball by Games Workshop is just the fact that as soon as a codex comes out, you can't access the rules app and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And make that pay. If you are paying per month, you are getting more for your buck as a company than you do from a codex, because people just pay for it forever. You know what I mean? So, and people are still going to buy codexes because they're really nice hardbacks. If people like the lore, like to read, and like I don't really like using my phone to do a lot of the stuff that I'm doing when I'm playing the actual game.
Books from all my game systems and tell me I won't buy that hardback, dude.
Oh, 100%. And it's just it makes the app kind of a bit useless in a way compared to what it could be. It's just it's a drop ball by Games Workshop. I think they should just be in there that people can see them, because it just becomes a hassle. Then how are you're having to look through Wikipedia, it's a good resource, but it's kind of a bit convoluted. It's kind of hard to get to the bits that you need to get to. And they don't want it because they don't have any control of it. So I've kind of gone into a rant a little bit there, but I feel like in terms of the codexes, and that's still being the case, that's a total drop ball for something that, with the index that came out, just being able to search grenade and seeing the grenade stratagem and being able to say, oh, that's what it is, that's what I'm going to use, or whatever. Yeah. It's just it was such a good app, and now it's slowly going to become irrelevant as the codexes come out.
The search function has become very good in the last few weeks and the last couple of updates. Like the way that it scrolls through the entire core rulebook and like pulls you out the correct thing.
Exactly.
Like, is awesome.
They figured out how to take a PDF and use the Control F function, and they're like, "Oh my god,
hey,
unlimited power!"
Here, hang on a minute. They learned how to do a search function. They learned how to color code their PDF. I think we're getting there. So my view is it's mental. My view is slightly, I don't know. I'm ranty as well because it's annoying, but I want to keep the positive attitude here and say, remember where we were in 8th and in 9th with the app was actually shite, and how good the app is now. I think they do like a progressive one step at a time. So they're like gonna do like the Apple thing, like our next app is the best app ever. So I want to think that they're gonna slowly go and start listening to the feedback. The change is not immediate, which is annoying in a place where you have other companies that everything digital. Like if you go for Star Wars Legion, everything is digital. X-Wing, everything is digital. Even the builder is free and digital, but that's what it is.
And you also, all their library stuff, all their books, you can get online digital copies. So why are their codexes not available as digital? Why can't I put it onto, say, into the Kindle app or whatever and just be able to use it? But hopefully that's maybe potentially going to change. We've got people in the chat as well talking about that. Why is there no digital? Well, there is a digital one, but you have to buy the hardback to get the code, which then just loads into the app. And it's like a total convoluted system.
I'm already paying for the app. Why am I having to fucking supplement the app? Like, you know what I mean? Like, eventually, my fucking Warhammer Plus subscription that pays for this app is going to get me fuck all on the app apart from the core rules, which are a PDF that you can download and use the Control F function.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
It's mad, man.
Yeah.
I did mention this earlier on in the podcast kind of series, like in its infancy, and I do still hold true to, I think that GW has too many historical, like, financial commitments to printers and suppliers before they have to finally dial back on the amount of printed resources. And I think
it takes time, but if you see how quickly they sell out, like the hard copy of the Heresy books, even the limited edition, you can do a business model and change your business model and go in towards like limited edition stuff and just release the rest free. I mean, if you print me the cards and in the cards I have the code for the app, I'll buy you the cards. I don't want the codex because I have plenty at home. Just give me the cards. I think if I could like suggest to everyone in the audience, if you want to send an email for the feedback to GDubs, I do it every time. I do it like at least once a month. I think they know me now. they're gonna
blacklisted. What are you talking about?
He has no idea that he's been blocked, but he keeps sending them emails.
I am.
Per my previous email
goes right to the bin. You just go right to the Fulvio bin folder.
100%. But as if 1,000 Fulvio sending 1,000 emails, something might change, I think.
Yeah.
So just send some feedback, because without feedback, they don't know really. So
I'll tell them when I'm in Nottingham on Friday. I'll say, I need to talk to someone. Have you
Get
thought
me
about
James'
Fulvio?
workshop.
Get
Bring
me
him
James
here.
right now.
I want to see the manager.
Let me go get my hair cut and I'll be full Karen. Hold on. Right, Karen. Karen would like to speak to the manager.
I like it.
oh my god.
And I think it comes from the fact that people really like the app, and if you are happy to pay a monthly subscription if all the information is in there, but I feel like the app slowly starts to fall off as more codexes come out and the information becomes like pretty useless, like what you were saying there, Keir. Like, you can just get the core rules as a PDF anyway, so why are people paying monthly for something? But, like a lot of the big YouTubers, Warhammer players, they're all saying the same thing. They're all saying, why is it not digital now? Why is the app, Auspex Tactics was talking about that, having an understanding of why is the rules not here? You can't access it in the app, which is for the rules, without buying the book to upload your code to then get access to the rules. But other indexes, you can now see their rules, and you can't see the old Space Marine rules just for the index detachment. It's all all over the place, but potentially it'll sort itself out.
Here's a funny one, and I heard this today from another podcast where they mentioned that even GW doesn't care about Crusade because none of the Crusade content is on the app.
Correct. Finally.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Crusaders.
So sorry, Sam, your Crusade is cancelled. GW said no.
Damn. Brutal. Actually, probably should have asked. Sam, by the way, Sam has had surgery the other day and is recovering still. So,
Shout out to
let
Sam
him recover.
and your recovery.
No, Sam, no more Crusade. No one.
Damn. Ruthless, bro.
That was harsh. Welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
But yeah, so codexes are out. What is the next one? What's the rumoured next one? Or do we actually know what the next one is? Is it
someone
Admech,
on
is it?
stilts? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Admech and
Tall
Necrons
boys.
around
Yeah.
Christmas time.
Necrons,
Either
that was the one I'd
together.
heard.
Robots versus robots.
Yeah. And Custodes are
Bigger stuff.
fairly soon. Way back when
fuck,
they
those
did
guys
a kind of rough
again, bro?
timeline.
Seriously?
Yeah.
God, when will they just go away?
I'm fucking so bored of being like,
Yeah, man, the blooming
poor
the
Penwell.
Emperor's like
what do you
feeding from a
vibes?
drip. He doesn't need no
Yeah, bro, fuck
bodyguards. Jeez.
Wait till they get
Hi,
their
Derek.
2-up army-wide invuln detachment
Yeah.
rule.
Yeah.
Mr.
The
Flip
heresy
was
was so 30k. Get over it.
Ugh.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, so we have got army boxes coming out Christmas time. The pre-orders usually around about the start of December time. If it's going to be similar price as it was last year, which I'll be surprised if it's similar price if they haven't put the price up.
it'll be
But if it's
close. It'll be within a
it'll be
fiver.
close. It'll be around about 130 to 140.
You think? Really?
Yeah,
Age?
For
Yeah.
the boxes, yeah.
With the one
My
with
gut-
Anglo
my
as
gut
well.
feeling-
Wow.
my gut feeling is that they'll have that weird fluctuation. There'll be like one box that they'll like tank, and then there'll be another one that's
Space
actually. Nah, the
Bro,
Space
the
Marines
Space
will
Marines
be.
box is fucking terrible. It's horrible, man.
It's terrible. It looks
I
terrible
know
as well.
what everyone wants. It's, in fairness, I think it's really appealing for old Space Marine players because it comes with 3 copies of the new kit with the new character.
Yeah.
But if you're just starting Space Marines, what a fucking boring kit. Because every single model in that box attacks with a chainsword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also...
Oh no, there's some power fists.
It's also how they always paint them in just like Ultramarines. I get it. Everyone loves it. All Space Marines players love Ultramarines, but it's just a boring look, and
No.
I don't find the color interesting.
I do not agree. No, I think they're boring as well. I like Blood Angels. I don't like my Ultramarines. No, sorry. Chris,
See,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Chris. Yeah.
Because when you think of
not-
Ultramarines, you think automatically of Chris. You have like the image of Chris
Yeah,
appears and
yeah.
like, why do you hate me, brother?
The problem is if they're not Ultramarines, they have to put in upgrade sprues. And to be honest, ever since they transitioned to Primaris, the upgrade sprues have been garbage. And I say that as an absolute Space Marine fanboy. The upgrade sprues are a joke, and they have been ever since they launched Primaris. Oh, like in comparison, like I remember being like a teenager and buying upgrade sprues, and you spent like £12 for your upgrade sprue, and you had
Were
like
they
you had like 50, 60 pieces in it. You had like 20, 30 different shoulder pads. You had like different weapons. You had different heads. You had all this you had like different cloaks and tabards or like furs and icons and so many cool bits. And like the only thing that's come close to that is the Black Templar sprue that they released after.
That's what Lewis is saying.
Lewis just said that one in chat.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're right. The Orcs box is fucking sick.
Yeah,
that's
good.
I'm a little bit gutted that I already have all of the Sagittars in Scotland. Otherwise, I'd be buying the Voltan one.
Box is good as well. Yeah. So let's go through the boxes. So the first one is the Orcs box. Orcs box looks pretty awesome, especially if you are just starting out an Orcs army. It comes with some real cool models. The Squig Hogs are a super powerful unit at the moment as well. Like, you're not seeing a list without them because that's insane at the moment. Like, they're just so good. And it comes with quite a few, right?
Mm-hmm. Comes with a full box of 5.
Box.
Yeah.
5, yeah.
Plus the Mozrog, Bazrak, whatever it's called.
Yes.
The walking dreadnought.
The big bad boogeyman.
Yeah.
You can
actually
build the other version of him out the kit though, so you can have like the war boss as well.
Yeah.
So like you can get 2 of these box sets, and you have like a great foundation for an army. Like,
and it's nice that they don't overlap. Also, they don't overlap with the combat patrol either. So which in some cases, which is
kill
nice.
rig, man. What the fuck?
Kill rig's still very cool.
Comes with a kill rig and infantry and cavalry and a fucking awesome HQ.
And 2 HQs actually, because you've got the the little
pain boss,
the pain boss witch doctor guy.
Whatever.
I must say I'm tempted by the box. It's really, really tempting, but I shall not.
Dude, I'm not trying to get all Tom Wishart on you boys here. What do you think of the Cadian Defence Force?
I love it.
How about 20 Cadian shock troops and their little squad of gaffers and 2 Rogaldorns?
Yeah,
do you
honestly,
like Rogaldorns? Yeah, buy this one.
Cool, bro.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. It's like, were you looking for Rogaldorns? If you
Look
were,
at that shit, dude.
Like,
get 2 of them in this box.
If I didn't fucking resent painting, I'd pick that up.
Well,
yes.
But I do.
So long as you speak to Mark, our resident 3D printing guru, and you then fill Rogaldorn's bottom.
Mate, it's not. It's so much more satisfying to get a good deal in the box than just get an excellent deal printing.
No. So, no, right, sorry, that's gone.
Oh, yeah, they're empty. Shit, aren't they?
Yes, you've missed the point. Yeah, you need to fill the hole. You need to 3D print the missing armor panel to...
Otherwise, they're like the Flintstones, like they...
Keep goodies in there, though, right? Like, I can maybe fucking, I don't know, throw some walnuts in. Yeah. Not in case I get hungry. In case I have an opponent who's beating me and they're allergic to nuts, I'll just...
That's
so what you need to do...
nasty.
Is you need to find a friend who also wants to start guard, and then between the 2 of you, you buy 3 of these, and you split them in half. You split the third one in half, so that you both have 3 Rogaldorns. Yeah. And you just go, cool. There's the start of my army.
Cool, dude.
They are. Have you seen them on the table? They're massive. They're bigger than they're repulsor executioners. They're freaking huge.
They're good too.
Are we sure that David is not paid by GW? By the way, so he keeps telling people buy 3, buy 4. Sure. I don't know. I don't know, man.
No,
why does Mozrog Scragbad have a 4-up fuel pain? What's going on with that?
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. Could
you can make him -1 to wound as well, right?
Yeah, of course you can. You can fight on that.
Okay. And he's toughness 10.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry.
He's a dreadnought. Yeah.
Whatever. It's
Anyway.
tougher than Dreadnought.
Anyway, next box, please, guys.
So going into the next box, yeah.
Yeah. What's the next one?
We've talked about Space Marines.
Space Marines have been talked about.
So bad, bro.
Look at that.
Why do they want to sell the Super Mario Kart at all costs, honestly?
Jump pack intercessors, because have all of the ones you'll ever need.
Yeah.
So
It's
here's where I'm
a character that looks fucking identical to all of them.
So here's where I'm like so disappointed, because like basically you just take the old jump packs and you do what everyone's been doing like for the last 3 years anyway, where you take assault intercessors and put jump packs on them.
Yeah.
Like I have all of my Wolfguard from like 9th edition are all Space Primaris Marines with assault intercessor jump packs and random melee weapons. Like, oh cool, you're on a tactical rock, cool, so I have to like pop you off and put a bit of cork on the base to make you the right height now. Like, cool.
You know, I think actually the fact that they included the Outriders is more disappointing than if they just put all jump back infantry. And like, you know what? The same box but without the bikes, because Outriders are like, I'm not into them, man. Like I don't.
Yeah, they're awful. Like also the fact that
the ATV
have
as
you
well,
built them before? Have you ever had a chance to build the Outriders? They are so bad. They are so bad to put together. The amount of gaps in that kit that you have to like fill in sand are a disgrace.
For me, the annoying part is the fact that being an airbrushing guy, I am an airbrusher. So
You're an airbrusher.
The fact that I am. The fact that the bottom of the body, the legs are like basically part of the bike is so annoying because you can't paint them into different stages. That's the worst part of the kit. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. If I didn't have like 15 assault intercessors already to do my Death Company, I would probably consider this one. But for me, it's a no. Next.
No.
You know? Yeah.
Next on
the
list.
Finally.
I think we're going into the
good one
NIDS.
too,
There we are.
There we go.
I think the NIDS box is pretty good. I think especially for a starter army box, it looks awesome. So if you're like, what one of these am I going to get? And you look through them, I would 100% either be pulled towards these guys or like Angron. You know, like the next box we're going to talk about.
We'll get that in a fucking second, dude.
We leave the best. Let's leave the best for last. This one is interesting because if you're a new player, obviously you get like the Greeblies, which you don't get in the Combat Patrol. I think, because these are Ormagons.
The Combat Patrol.
You get the Termagants, and you get the Hive Tyrant. You can build in both ways. Everyone obviously has like multiple Hive Tyrants because they were like in every single box before, but this one has a Nord Queen as well. So this is nice for I would say a beginner or even like someone that wants a Nord Queen and wants to split. Yeah. There's a new Gene Stealers in it as well, which are nice.
Yeah, the new Gene Stealers are in it. That's cool.
Yeah.
This kit and the Combat Patrol, or if you were to maybe be starting the hobby and you get the starter set, like the big starter set, you're on your way to like a really interesting like beginner's army with like lots of different units, lots of different options where you can kind of get a feel for the game, some big monsters, some little monsters, some cool characters. Like you can get a good kind of 1,500 to 2,000 points between it.
So they're in medium infantry. They're not light infantry anymore.
Yeah, and there's also you've got this box kind of gets you set up pretty close to starting the army for the Horde attachment, the constant respawn. And I can't remember exactly. Unending Swarm, that's what it's called.
Yep.
With all of these characters and all these troops in it.
If you wanna spend 2 days playing Warhammer, why not?
That's some lips in my life every time I play.
Sign me up to play Knights, dude.
Just play Knights.
Yeah, fuck it.
There's so many Greeblies. Next, we have.
This is the winner.
Hot.
Oh my god. Hot. I love this one. If I did, do I need another Angron?
So good. Yes.
Like I don't know. I might finally fall to Chaos. I've been thinking for a while. I want to do a Chaos Marine-esque army, but what I want to do is basically 13th Company Space Wolves, where all the Space Wolf stuff is like demonic. So I want Angron to be like Demon Russ, like
nice.
take some fun bits off him. Like, I want to do like a kind of mix-match between like Wolfen and like 8-Bound. Yeah. And like I've seen a really cool conversion of like a Demon Prince, but with the like sculpted on the Thunderwolf cavalry head and like a bunch of fur on it, and it just looks so good. And then they've given it the big axe that comes from the Venerable Dreadnought, and it looks so cool. And I'm like, oh, do I have the time to start another army? And then also the fact that it's still power armor, it's still Space Marines. It just looks slightly different.
Dude, I played against World Eaters at the last tournament we were at, and they're fast.
They are fast.
They get on you. They move like 6 inches, but they then add 2 inches to their move, and then they advance and charge, and they have an auto advance 6 strats. They just fucking move 17, then charge you. Turn 1.
And World and 8-Bound as well. That's the hot pick. That's the staple of the army as well.
I like the Berserkers, man. I like the Berserkers of the Master Executions. I think he's great.
Yep. Nice part of this one is that you can buy this one. You can buy the Combat Patrol, which has the Lord of Juggernaut and another 10 Berserkers and something else. I don't remember. I think it might be more Exalted 8-Bounds or something. I know, sorry, it has the Jackals. So if you buy that one and this one, you basically almost have a fully like functional army. Cool. You might need more 8-Bounds, but you can build them like either way, Exalted or normal. This is a really, really good deal.
And Angron is the coolest of the Primarch sculpts since they've introduced them into like 40k.
I think he's the most modern, and I think it shows because like we've been playing on a lot of quite dense terrain setups, and trying to move the Magnus model's a fucking nightmare, dude.
Yeah.
So hard to move the model. My spear's already pinned. Like his big blade, it's already pinned, but like it's gonna break again. It sucks. The Angron sculpt's kind of nicely tucked in. Fits on his base.
I think it's maybe time to just.
Oh, and the last one, sorry.
Magnus.
Like,
you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would actually.
Bastard.
The boys.
It's a good box. It's a good box.
Low key, I think, depending on the price point, this might be the best value for money one.
Yeah.
If you were going to buy more than one, like if you had the right local game store that was doing a discount on these, and you were to grab 3 of these, holy shit, you are building like a great start to a Votann collection.
Was that like 100 points now, Dave?
Yeah. So you.
Votann guys are like what 1 point each, and the vehicles are 2 points. Something like that.
So you could buy. To be fair, actually, you could buy 2 of these and probably a start collecting, or if you can find it because it's like gold dust. But the boarding patrol box, I think, was the better pick. But if you can find an FLGS that's got a couple of these, the boarding patrol and the start collecting equivalents, you've got like a great 2,000 point like jumping off into Votann army. You get a nice mix of characters. You get a mix of vehicles and bikes. You've got the half guard just now, absolutely slap. The Sagittars are criminally undercosted. I accept that.
The Sagittars unbelievably hard. Like,
they are undercosted. But I'm just sad that I have all of the Sagittars, and the Mark printed me all of the Terminators that I'll ever need in my life.
They really like. Sorry, I need to double check this because I'm looking at the combat patrol for Votann, and I'm like, that's cool, man. You get like the HQ for the faction, which is the Cal.
Mm-hmm.
You get a squad of the troops. You get some bikes, and you get the Berserkers. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. Like, you get that. And then I'm like, oh, what's the Thousand Suns combat patrol? No Rubik Marines.
Zangors. For
no
days.
Araman. No Exalted Sorcerers. You get an Infernal Master, some Terminator. By the way, sorry, an Infernal Master which can't lead any of the squads in the combat patrol.
I think
20
it's the same.
Zangor?
I think it's the same in this one, no? I think the champion cannot go
The Cal
in any
can lead
unit.
that
They
Cal
know
can
that
lead
the champion here
boys.
can lead the Hearthguard from the
I'm looking
Christmas
at Combat
box.
Patrol Votan.
And
Combat
the
Patrol
Cal-
Votan comes with 2 different squads that are infantry, a squad of their bikes, and a Cal.
Yeah,
Right.
the Cal can
That's
go
nice.
with Terminators and the basic troop. You
Yeah, man.
cannot assign a character to the Berserks. But
No,
I think that makes sense.
I feel like they just pretended that they never said that Combat Patrol games were ever going to be a thing, and they just kind of said, if we just stop talking about it, people will forget that we said that.
Because that's where I was going next. Because the Combat Patrols are meant to be balanced to play against each other.
Definitely not.
Allegedly.
Yeah, my 20 Zangor stand a great chance against your fucking Berserks, bro.
But
that takes us pretty nicely talking about points, stuff that's undercosted, to quickly just look at where we're sitting right now. The data slate got dropped around about a month or so ago now. We are in the sort of the new stage of the meta. Stuff has shifted about in the middle of the pack quite a lot. Currently at the top, Eldar is still a bit broken up the top. They still are doing really well in tournaments. Yeah, there are lots of other people winning different parts of tournaments, but in terms of representation, there is so many. Eldar are still winning a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're still being played a lot, which is probably what's potentially stiffened their percentages quite a lot, is that so many people are playing Eldar right now that amount of people losing compared to the really good people winning with them is potentially bringing that percentage down a little bit. But even in the Meta Watch, if anyone's seen the video, he even talked about, he's kind of skipped over Eldar a little bit, but he was like, yeah, Eldar is still a little bit outside of where we're wanting them. And obviously Orcs have pinged up to the top there as well. And having played one of those Orc lists, they are monsters. The Orc melee list is wild. If you get caught on the wire, you may as well just be like, all right, you've called the wire, we should shake hands and go get our lunch. And go look at some exhibitions or something. What are people's thoughts right now? We've got it up on the screen. And tell us in Twitch as well what your thoughts are of what's going on. But seeing a lot of sisters getting played at the moment, which is great because sisters are a pretty cool army, I think. And seeing them win, seeing them do quite well. Like I said, we spoke about them in the last podcast with Simone, and he did really well with them in the Grand Tournament down in London, and in the Tampa Bay tournament as well. I'm pretty sure that was a sisters list that won there. Yeah, it was. And the Tampa US Open, first place was another sisters list. So a different sisters list as well from what Simone talked about as well, which is awesome just to see that diversity of teams. But sadly, still at the bottom there, we have Drukari. Still kind of, they've just still not got them right. I don't know if maybe it's going to have to take a complex.
Look what they done to my boys. They massacred them. My boys.
I wonder if one of the things to talk about is, will Drukari, do they need a codex? Do Drukari?
Yes.
Is that what they need?
I think for me, on you go. Go.
Hot take. If they drop a Drukari codex and they don't get it right, they're going to be busted, and they're going to be busted all edition, just like they were last edition. Regardless of what they did to try and, it took, was it 5 nerfs to finally bring Drukari into check because of the diversity and the kind of styles and the kind of narrative push they put on units in the Drukari. That they're always too fast, they always shoot too hard, they always fight too well, they've always got too many benefits, and if we're not careful, when they do get a codex, they're going to be busted, and they're going to go from where they're going to basically flip the table, and they'll be where Eldar are just now. That's my kind of hot take. They're just going to just flip right to the top.
Right, bear with me for a second now. I played Drukari for the last edition for bit bunch of the last edition after the second nerf, because I could play them at that point. So Drukhari are always fun. A fun codex, because it's basically 3 codex in one. You have the Coven, which is the tough guys, the Cabal, which is the shooty guys, and then you have the Witch Cult, which is the combat one. At the moment, they do nothing. Like, the combat is basically inexistent. Everything is either strength too low, or no AP, or nothing like that. Drazar is, like, honestly, like, gathering dust in there. Is like the former shell of himself. Is interesting because I think for me they have the same problem that Dark Angels have. So you have a codex which is like in 3 parts, and every part has like a strong aspect, but if you work all together it might be too much. So I would be interesting to see how they work with the detachments in that case and the enhancements and stuff. What they need is they need a bit more punch in combat. In the past, all the stuff they get during the game, like from turn 2 or turn 3, you could advance and charge and do stuff that was honestly incredible. They're still Eldar, so they still die. So I don't know how to balance them properly. I think there needs to be like less shooty though. But the shooting was they are what the army used to do in previous edition in 8th and 7th as well. So I don't know. I don't want them to go down the shooting only army, but
you say they still die, but like, did you play against fucking Hemoxites last edition?
Oh well, Hemoxites are still good, but it's only once. Well, you can't have them now anymore. It's just have like.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, last edition, they did not die.
Yeah,
I think the problem is, and it's a shame because it's the way the lore's written, is that like you give the poison weapons is what I'm describing here. But when you give like a tanky, like the unit, their whole thing is that they're meant to be tanky, you give them a way to consistently punch up against higher toughness infantry, like with the poison weapons, or even against monsters. Dude, I remember playing fucking Turnids and getting my Hive Tyrant on foot wounded on 4s against Rax.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
When you put that on the tanky units in the Codex, then it's tough to balance that. Because you're giving guaranteed damage to something that's guaranteed quite tanky. Whereas I think they should be giving the poison. I know it's maybe not how the lore's run, but mechanically, I think the Witch Cult should be getting the anti-infantry and melee and stuff like that.
Yeah. The poison, I think poison should be, probably witches are good, so they should allow like a flurry of attacks, and they should.
They're fucking dog shit right now. They're like strength 3 and no AP.
Yes, exactly. I think strength 3 AP1 maybe, and maybe if you put Lilith Esperax in a unit, one unit can get +1 to wound or +1 strength or something like that. Yeah, the melee is basically like there's no point.
Strength 3 -1. That's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And they stop you falling back, so you don't get any like extra AP from Blade Artists or anything like that anymore. That's terrible.
Interesting enough, the Codex is not as deep as the Eldari one, because so much stuff has gone in Legends. So that would be interesting to see what they do. My fear is that they do a detachment of Coven, a detachment of Witches, a detachment of Cabal, and that's it. Why actually they usually working as a trifecta, basically, right? So like 3 armies, one.
That's the point.
We'll see what they do. I think for me, the interesting part will be to see what they do with Dark Angels, which I think is the next codex, and see what they do with the 3 wings as well, right? Like the green wing, the raven wing, and the whatever it's called, the other wing.
1 detachment each would be perfect.
Yeah, but it's still an army, so it still works as a combined army in a sense. So you might still want to have like a bit of everything. Maybe it's not as effective as.
Yeah, but I think like what you could do, something along the lines of, you could say, give a keyword, like for a Drukhari, you can give a keyword Coven to all the Coven units, Cult to all the Witch Cult units, and Cabal to all the Cabal units, and you could have an army rule that says, let's say a shooty detachment is like, you get +1 AP on a 6 to wound. If your unit has the Cabal keywords, then you get a devastating wound instead. So that you are more rewarded for taking your Cabal units in that, but it does give something to everything in that detachment, you know? But I think you're right in that isn't the...
Unless
you don't just play with one of the 3.
Unless you play just like a tank army, which is either Imperial Knights or Grey Knights, which actually are tricky to balance as well. The other most tricky part of the balancing act is like these codex, which are so wide in a sense. And that's why I think, personally, I don't know them, I don't play them. That's why I think AdMech struggles as well, because they have like, which are kind of different. They do different stuff, but they kind of work together.
The Cult Mechanicus and Skitarii stuff's all the same now.
Yeah.
But I think last edition there was a lot of codices like that, because Thousand Suns was the same in that you had all of your Arcana Astartes, which is all your power armored guys, and then you had all of your Bray, which is all of your Zangors. And there was two sides to that being balanced, and it was the same with Chaos Space Marines. Last edition, you had all your power armor guys, and then you had your Demonkin guys, right?
Yeah.
And your HQs gave buffs specific to one of the two halves. I think actually, to be honest, like looking at the codices last edition, there were a lot of armies that had kind of two tech trees that didn't really interact with each other so much, and you kind of could tech into.
But now we are in this like wild meta where you can get like a Burning Chariot, and that gives to the whole army +1 AP on a target.
Basically, yeah, because it's because the rule interacts with the target. It turns the benefit of cover off. Yeah,
I think it's a problem of Index Hammer. I don't know. I'm not a game theorist
but also
or game scientist, but
I'm only talking about T-Suns because this is the army that I play. I like it's also stuff like I can't put anything but I have one character that I can attach to my Terminators, so the rest of my elite characters can only be attached to Rubik Marines, apart from the one Zangor character who's just not amazing. But yeah, it's really odd because they used to buff the Terminators, and I think there's a lot of T-Suns players that own a Terminator Sorcerer because they're not been great historically. I own two though because I'm weird. But yeah, it's really, really peculiar.
Yeah,
the way it's shaking it now.
I think what we can see is that like the central part of the army, like apart from Eldarian Orcs, maybe Votan and Marines as well, Chaos Space Marines obviously, which are like on the top. The rest is quite compact in a sense. So we've seen like Orcs win in a GT, Sisters win in a GT, or possibly two. Death Guard as well. Believe it or not, has won a GT, went 5-0 in Austria. I think apart from the top and like the very like bottom of the barrel, the rest is quite mixed well in a sense. So I would dare to say maybe balanced. And if you get everything is kind of viable, and if you get your reps properly with the army, I think you can make work any army. That's my hot take, I guess.
So I'm going to quickly switch from GW's stats here to a different set of stats from the actual stat check guys, who I think have some of the best.
Just while we're in the interim, data. I want to talk about AdMech going 5-1 at the SoCal Open, but bro, I have so many thoughts and emotions about it. Sorry, 5-1.
Okay, this is pretty different. Chaos Space Marine 63% is surprising.
Okay, so this is
underpowered.
This is StatCheck. Like for anyone that doesn't know, StatCheck, great podcast, great group of guys. The amount of work they do to track the meta and make that data accessible and interesting and understandable is amazing. They put in a lot of time and effort to like filter their data properly. So you have to, your event has to be, I think, a minimum of 5 rounds. So they don't include data for any RTT. It's got to be a minimum of 5 rounds, and there's a cut-off for the number of players as well, so that the data is actually tangible and like applicable in a wider sense to where the meta really is. So when you make some of these comparisons, like yes, they have like down the middle, you've got some factions there, and you're like, okay, there's still a good chunk in the middle, but the kind of win rate is much higher for some factions than maybe GW.
I think
or kind
Tyranids is so low because they are really hard to play well. But I think that they have a shitload of play with the Synaptic Nexus. but I think it's hard to play them well because you have to be really, really careful with your neural lictors. Do everything for that army, and they are not actually that tough. So I think like
because what you've pointed out there with Tyranids in particular is the fact that so Tyranids as a whole on their data is 47%, but when you actually look at Synaptic Nexus, that's a 55% win rate. So like there's then that thing of this is where it gets I think this type of data is far more interesting now that we do have a couple of codexes, and this will become even more interesting the more codexes we get to see which of the detachments are doing the real work in terms of establishing like a clearer meta. So like again, like I'm a big advocate for looking at this from these guys because it's so good, and the fact that they take it to that next level that GW doesn't in terms of breaking it down.
GW take pretty much any games that are played that are recorded.
Garage Hammer as well, basically. So like friendly.
Garage Hammer on your table with no fucking terrain.
I'm so fascinated as to where they collect that data from, though. Like who?
3 interns in a room. 3 unpaid interns.
If you're lucky, 3, possibly 1.
Yeah. No, 2 to play all the games and 1 to record all the results.
Rare.
And they have to buy their army though. They have to bring their own army and pay for it.
Yeah. Listen, got to pull yourselves up with the bootstraps. Sorry, I really want to talk about this, guys. I want to talk about this AdMech 5-1, if it's okay with you guys.
Yeah,
go for it.
Hit it.
Let me... Right, so for those of you that are uninitiated, AdMech are bad. Their detachment rule, their army rule is the worst army rule in the game.
Allegedly.
It's D3 mortal wounds and a battle shock test for all units in your opponent's deployment zone turn 1, or they are just battle shocked. They can just choose to not take
battle shock now is not nothing. Battle shock is not nothing.
It's turn 1. It's only turn 1, and then turn 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 1 mortal wound.
Okay,
to
that bad.
Each unit in their deployment zone on a 3-up.
Okay, that bad.
That's terrible, man.
Yeah.
So,
but is speed the weapon here to claim the board? Is this?
No, the weapon is having a shitload of bodies. So the list is as follows. These Tech Priest Dominus are quite good. They're like a little character. They have a bit of fighting. They have a little bit of shooting, and they give the most important part. They give a 5-up Fatal No Pain to the unit they're attached to. So remember that. 2 of these guys giving 5-up Fatal No Pains. Yeah. This enhancement gives the unit stealth. So he's giving them stealth and a 5-up Fatal No Pain. So nice. Now we're starting to get a little spicier. The next enhancement is Master Annihilator. I know this one as well. I just need to... I'm going to look this up. It gives Sustained Hits 1. So buffs on buffs. This Manipulus has like a few cheeky shots. Fine, whatever. Not that important. 1, 2, 3, 4 10-man Skitarii Vanguard. They're only T3, but they have a 5-up invuln, and they are also OC2. And they're 80 points for 10. That's really not bad.
Yep.
Also, when an enemy is within 3 of them, they are -1 OC, and all of these bodies are OC2. So really surprising primary control.
That's obnoxious, actually. Okay.
But I don't think they're great.
No, but for like trying to flip an objective, that's cheeky.
5-up invuln, 4-up save, and they're 8 points a model? And they're OC2? That's fine. 4 transports to put them all in.
Yep.
So you can just yeet them all up the board.
Do the Dune Riders have a scout move at all?
No. I don't think so. But they are still just annoying. Scorpius Dune Rider. Nope. But they can disembark from it after advancing.
Okay.
So that's cute. Aside from that, they're basically just a rhino, but with an extra wound. These are action monkeys, I think. 5-man Electro Priest model unit. They can do a little bit of fighting, but they're whatever. They're just 55 points. Iron Strider Ballistari, I think also an action monkey, but they have las cannons.
The chicken.
So they can do some cheeky anti-tank stuff. Yeah. 3 chickens.
The chickens are cheeky.
Nah, mate.
They're
This is fucking cheeky.
We did have jokes about just spamming chickens at one point, but that never happened.
I mean, they're spamming. They're not spamming. They're taking 3 single chickens. They're just twin las cannons. They're one shot each. But
if you're a millionaire, dude, you can do it because they're like,
dude, look at this shit. Do you see what I see?
Yeah.
So 18 breachers.
Yeah. Do you know what's special about breachers, David?
Do they get assigned to the characters that we just saw at the start?
Yeah. So one of them, a character gives one squad stealth and a 5 at fuel no pain.
Okay.
Next character gives the second squad 5 at fuel no pain and sustained hits 1.
Nice.
Next character gives the squad lethal hits and once per game the whole unit gets a 4 up invul.
Okay.
Breachers are T7 and 3 wounds apiece. T7. I'm looking at the.
Oh, not the destroyers. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And their ability is that when they are within 6 of one or more friendly AdMech battle line units, like the 40 bodies that are surprisingly tough and very cheap, they get full hit rerolls.
Okay.
So basically, all 18 of them are rerolling all of their hits all game.
And you're fishing for the sustained stuff?
Each shoot 2 shots, hang on 4 up, strength 8 -2, 3 damage, but they are rapid fire 2 and anti-vehicle 4 up.
Funnily enough, they are basically anti-infantry 2+ as well, because strength 8 wounds your marines on 2s anyway.
Yeah.
Lol.
Yeah. And their melee weapon is also nothing to sniff at 2 attacks, second on a 4, strength 8 -2, 3 damage. And they are just going to be re-rolling hits just all the fucking time.
People just been playing the Mechanicus wrong. Is that what we're learning?
Probably.
Everyone's always been playing Breacher spam, but like I think they're a hard army to play, and I think that a good player will be able to take advantage.
So it's a skill issue again. They've gone back to being a skill issue.
I think it's a skill issue, but also your opponent. I think it's. I don't know, because there'd be good players at SoCal Open, but
it's a money
the
issue
only
as
move
well.
5. You know what I mean?
So I mean more a skill issue for the AdMech player, like to leverage this.
Yes and no. But like the big thing I think is the breachers shoot 36 and only move 5, which means that on a more open board, like with less terrain, those guys will be picking shit up every turn. Damage 3, dude.
Yeah, there goes your Terminators.
That's crazy.
AP2 as well is quite a good APT.
Yeah.
We have to say I think that this is a US tournament, so usually they do players place terrain.
Yeah.
So the terrain might have been like, I don't know, a bit questionable or maybe not really balanced, but still, I mean, 5-0, kudos. I mean, maximum respect for the guy.
For what is a 33% win rate faction on StatCheck.
I think this shows again that if you put the reps in, and even if you have a shit army, you can do stuff. Because if you have a shit army, usually you have very, very cheap bodies, and the GW's response of like balancing is always like drop the prices of stuff. Like the sisters are very, very cheap now. That card is very cheap and have a similar list. The 5-0 winners at the Austrian GT.
Even at the RTT we were at, Saltar Games, shout out to Saltar Games who were in the chat earlier but are now in bed.
That's cute.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on chat.
All of them.
They all went in one
at the RTT they ran, Ricky Sims won with T-Suns, and StatCheck have a 47% win rate on T-Suns at the moment. So it goes to show that like even if an army is like subpar, they still have play if you play them well. It's a dice game. Yeah, I mean, I might have to bank on an 11-out charge to win the game, but there's like a 1 in 12 chance I make that charge. So, and if I do, I'll win the game. You know? That was great mental maths. That was such good mental maths.
That was good. Man, there's brain stuff going on at this time at night as well. But what I will say is the meta is always going to be constantly shifting. So if you're an army that you're like, we're doing rubbish, our percentage is really low, no one's playing them, there's no good lists, it always changes. Like, even looking at, just by taking the Gene Stealer position in the GW one, which is questionable, their stats, they went from being the top army to literally losing around about 10-15% win rate off the back of them, of where they're sitting now. I think a lot of that for them is around the fact that some of it has to do with luck when you're playing them now in terms of your dice rolling, but let's be honest, the game, a lot of it's to do with luck anyway. But a little bit more luck, because you need to roll stuff for it to come back, for stuff to happen in your turn. But really, I think we'll see what happens in the next data slate drop. Will it be a data change, or will there be rules change in the next one? Like, they kind of usually balance it, change it. They come together now. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not going to come till Christmas.
January.
The Christmas time,
isn't it? Yeah.
And as always, it'll cause chaos for the Nottingham GT. They usually kind of has that. It's usually around that window where you're like panicking, going, "Is it going to drop in time? Am I going to have to change my list? Am I fucked? Do I now have to rush to paint?"
If I practice T-Suns and I get nerfed again, I'm gonna quit Warhammer.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. I'm sucked in.
Yeah. Great. So we have rounded on probably the longest podcast we've had so far, but it's been some great conversation. We are gonna let you go, let you get to bed. It's late for us here as well. Get back to painting those models. Get them battle ready for the Halloween RTT. Get along to that. You'll see some very, very interesting costumes at that. We've had some sneak peek into it. But we look forward to seeing you down at the club soon. Friday is our next game night, then next Monday, and then the following Friday again. So we look forward to seeing you all there. Please say hello. We love chatting. We love hanging out with all of you. So please come along. And as always, join us in the Discord. Lots of chat all the time going on in the Discord. And love seeing the community come together behind different members, especially in the painting channel. You know, everyone is always so complimentary in the painting channel. I'm like, maybe I'm just putting some of my really rubbish paint stuff in there so people can just make me feel better about it.
Just to get patted on the back.
Yeah, just to feel better about it.
You're there for the good vibes. The painting crew are just like,
always good vibes.
And you get so many good painters in there who they're just like,
there is.
Don't worry, you're okay.
Just don't copy Mr. Latham.
Darren Latham, the only man with the paint in the world.
Don't
worry about that.
Dare.
No.
Don't
even paint the mini.
Yes,
Don't
I'm going to be the Warhammer World on Friday. Don't put that out in the world. I want to fly under the radar so I can speak to Mr. James' workshop and tell him to fix the game.
Heard you were talking shit.
we pop up on like some sort of internal like filtering engine. It's like blinking lights at GW right now.
No sponsored content from us.
Fulvio's just got us blacklisted. We're never going to get an NDA. We're never getting that NDA. Like,
absolutely.
We're only here for the free Warhammer. That's the only reason we're here.
Start the games club.
Yeah, please. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for coming along for the ride on Twitch as well. Great to see numbers up there again in that chat. Join us next time for our next podcast where we will be talking a load of rubbish again. So please come along and enjoy that alongside us. So thank you very much, everyone, and good night.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.